I have very strong opinions when it comes to video games, and that gets me some enemies. Not everybody's going to like what I have to say. A lot of people are going to think that I'm one thing or the other, and I think that's perfectly fine. We're all entitled to our opinions, but at the end of the day, you know what? I feel like I'm more in a spot and a space where I can actually go out and say, you know what? This is exactly why Xbox screwed up, or this is why Xbox is doing great. And I feel like not enough people are in that position to do that, right? Like, I've been on both sides of the fence where, you know, Microsoft wasn't coming out with anything for a couple of years in the AAA space, and I was very upset about that and was very vocal about it. And I stand by the fact that nobody should have been okay with that. But I also realized that my anger get the better of me, and that was probably a little bit unwarranted, and I probably went on with it a little bit too much, especially considering video games are just supposed to be fun. And I went and I played a lot of PlayStation, and I enjoyed it. I love PlayStation, but I gotta, just keep honest and say that I prefer Xbox, just like the achievements, the ecosystem, all that kind of stuff. And I still love playing PlayStation. I'm excited. I have Horizon Forbidden West pre-ordered, and it's in a very exciting time. And in general, I feel like gamers everywhere sort of look one way or the other at these type of things. And for me personally, Sony, they've had a little bit of a bad run, okay, because they aren't as good at interacting with fans as Microsoft, and that is going to be a knock on them going forward. And I feel like obviously them not doing the E3s, and then due to like the pandemic and stuff like that, not being able to go out there and obviously interact and connect. Like, fans of games want that connection. They want to connect with these companies. They want to, even though I know it's fake, right? And I know that these companies just want our money. You want that kind of connection, like, oh, well, here it is. Like, Microsoft has that, whether people like them or not. People like Greenberg, who kind of, sticks it to PlayStation fans sometimes with his pictures or whatever, or Phil, who interacts with people and responds to messages on Xbox. They want that, right? And Sony used to have some of that, when they had like Adam Boyes, and Yoshida will sometimes respond, but like it's a different type of situation that both these companies are in. Now, Sony, there was this cool announcement, and I felt like it's a big win for them, especially given the way that Microsoft does things. And even though I'm a huge Xbox fan, I have to say that I don't agree with the way Microsoft does this, and I think it's starting to kind of pay off more for Sony doing it their way than Microsoft's way. And it's going to be a video that I think a lot of people are going to pay attention to and don't want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and of course this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like, and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It means the world to me. Please leave us a like. That's all I'm asking for. I do videos every day, multiple videos. I spend time researching and just putting these things together. I know it's not like the best quality or anything like that, but I'm learning, we're growing, we're kind of rebuilding here, and I just really need your help. And that's the biggest help that you can give to me, is just by liking the videos. It helps get them seen and things like that. So thank you guys very much for rocking out with me and doing that. Now, when it comes to what PlayStation is doing and some good things, here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's no right or wrong way, honestly, right? When you're doing stuff as a company. And what I mean by that is Microsoft puts all their games day and date that come out on their Xbox console on PC, right? And a lot of people like that. I'm sure that a lot of the PC people like that. But at the same time, I still feel like there's games that just aren't really meant for PC. And at the same time, I feel like there's also this situation where they shouldn't have them, and it shouldn't be day and date. You should really focus on your hardware. You're selling hardware. You should do that. Now, I understand Microsoft's position and what they're trying to do, so I get that. But Sony does things differently, and they release their games, years later, if at all. And now it looks like by doing this, the strategy is working because it's making people want to play the sequels. And a good way of looking at this is an article that I'm going to include in here. Like, God of War, the first game from 2018, so a 4-year-old game, is making PC players buy a PlayStation 5. So that's something that, I think was probably the goal, and it looks like it's working out quite well. God of War has managed to be one of the biggest releases by PlayStation on PC, and it seems like fans just can't get enough of the game. By the way, folks, I wanted to point this out. This has been my game of the all time since 2018. I still stick by that. My favorite game. I absolutely love it, and obviously Ragnarok is one that I'm looking forward to the most this year. While other games like Horizon Zero Dawn did extremely well in their launch week as well, God of War is the only game that has stayed on the top in the second week as well, and it seems like it's making players buy a console to boot. So while games like Horizon Zero Dawn were pretty good, the number of issues that the game had at launch affected its reception quite a bit. However, it's not the case with God of War, as PC players have just heaped praises on the game and are starting to show interest in other exclusives as well. One of the reviews on Steam reads, "F this game. The price on Steam says that the game is only $49.99, but that's a lie. It's going to cost me over $600 because I'm literally forced to buy a PS5 and God of War Ragnarok now." In fact, there are several other reviews as well that share a similar response. So I think that's probably some of Sony's thought process, right? So they released Horizon Zero Dawn last year, and of course Forbidden West comes out this year. And, people sometimes don't want to wait 2, 3, 4 years to pick up a game on PC, especially when they're of quality that Sony puts out. And don't make any mistakes, Sony puts out very quality games, right? They do. They just put out incredibly quality made games, and they're such amazing pieces of art that, people really just kind of go, "Oh man, that's so brilliant." Like when I first played God of War, that's how I thought about things. I just thought, man, this game is such a brilliant game, and it's such like an emotional experience of a game. Of course, I mean, do they really want to wait until 2026 possibly to play the sequel? Obviously PC players are pretty stuck in their way, but I think we're starting to kind of bridge that gap where you're getting such great performance with PlayStation anyway, and with Xbox anyway. I think that it just makes sense to have a console. I know people were traditionally against these things because you're stuck with 30 frames, but God of War Ragnarok is going to have a 60 frames option. It's going to look great. It's going to play great. So it seems like Sony's strategy to bring some of the older PlayStation exclusives to PC is working quite well, to say the least. The fact that these PC ports are making people buy a PlayStation 5 while being profitable at the same time is something that Sony should have basically really intended to do in the first place. Now, the interesting thing about this is now the game God of War has sold over 1 million copies on PC, and coupled with the 19.5 million on PlayStation, it's over 20 million copies. That's a huge thing. That's a huge deal. That's a lot of copies of a game, and people are going to continue to be excited by that, and I think that that's probably the right way to go about things right now. I know some people are going to go, "Oh, well, blah blah blah, players." I get that. Like some companies want, they want players if it's a multiplayer game or whatever, but we don't have to. And I'm not hating on Halo. We know Halo has done well. We know Forza Horizon 5 has done well with players, and I think probably we can thank PC for some of that. But at the same time, I think it's pretty clear. I think it's pretty more than clear actually that when it comes to playing games, I feel like stuff like Halo was created for console and was created to do what people thought was impossible in a console, which was like a kind of sandbox shooter, right? So that was something that people thought was traditionally would only work on a PC. And the thing is, there's a lot of PC gamers that stick by a certain type of game. Like a lot of them play like League of Legends or Counter-Strike or whatever, and they stick by their tried and true games or whatever. And now we have a situation where we don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like the game, it's not doing extremely well on Steam. Yes, there's the Windows Store or whatever, but you better believe, because the game is still in the top 5 on most played games on Xbox, so you better believe that people are playing the game, and there's a lot of people playing the game. But people shouldn't be shocked that the majority of people playing this game are obviously on console. Like, it's an Xbox game, folks. Like, why is that so shocking to, like, let's not use Steam as a way to measure these games, because it's not a great way to do that. You know, the game is an Xbox game, and Xbox is a console. Let's not kid ourselves, and that's where the majority of people are going to play it. So people shouldn't be shocked by that news. With that being said, I love the way that Sony does this, right? I'm sure Microsoft wishes they had thought about doing this. Obviously, they were in a bit of a pinch previously in the previous generation, where they had to go out and do something to look like more of a value to gamers. And you know, here it is. You know, we see how this kind of works, and it's just crazy to see that, you know, you can have a 4-year-old game make such an impact and be profitable and do good sales in these types of situations. So yeah, I love seeing that, and it's such an interesting thing as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's incredible. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to link this. This is a big win for Sony, I believe, and you know, it's different than what Microsoft is doing, and both are making money and doing things for their companies, but it still doesn't have to be the same thing. They can achieve different things, do different things, and achieve the same kind of goal. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crapgamer 'em up. Crapgamer out.